People, everyone of the YouTube universe, the no-lives, the salty bastards, the people with cartoon characters as their profile pic, who have nothing better to do. You are going to leave a comment. You are going to give me a free view, and you are all going to shut your mouth when I say, ladies and gentlemen, I am the one and only DJ Storms. And welcome back to the channel here on YouTube.com. As of course, you already know who I am, Mr. Controversy, and the operator of the best damn Twitter handle known to mankind. This is the Lightning Flash update for June 1st, 2018, as we draw nearer and nearer towards Money in the Bank pay-per-view. And if you have not checked it out, go and check out my special edition Storm stream with Jake Salig. Follow him on Twitter at WokenJakeSalig. We talked about the weekly shows, excluding NXT, so I'm pretty much going to skim through the weekly show reviews until we get to NXT. That's going to be that, and I got some news on Money in the Bank. I got some news on Big Cass, and yes, he will be returning to the live event tours this week. And, of course, do not forget, Dr. Huge, follow him on Twitter at Dr. Huge Show, will be appearing on June 16th for my Money in the Bank rundown, in case you're interested in seeing that. Now then, my salty bastards, we're just going to skim through these weekly show reviews. Raw kicked off with Braun Strowman. He says he's going to win Money in the Bank, and Brock's going to get these hands. Balor comes out. Balor just slaps Braun. Match was made. It was turning into a good match. Owens interfered, and then Braun threw a ladder at Owens and nearly killed him. Elias is golden as per usual. He wanted the tech guys to adjust his vocals. He wanted silence. Rollins interrupted. Rollins and Jinder was actually turning into a good match, and it ended in a DQ after Rollins hit Jinder with a chair. Elias then hit Rollins with a guitar after the match. Nia Jax came out. Ronda Rousey interrupted. Nia destroyed a jobber. Ronda came to ringside, and Nia just walked out. Hardy and Wyatt defeated the Ascension. It was a decent match for what it was, but really nothing special. B-Team hosted a B-Team barbecue. Kevin Owens defeated Bobby Roode. Decent match. I didn't really care. Strowman destroyed Owens and then took out Roode. Sammy made an apology to Lashley. Lashley came out, and then he offered the challenge on Money in the Bank. Drew McIntyre defeated Chad Gable. The B-Team barbecue ended in a food fight. We have Finn Balor versus Kevin Owens next week. Braun Strowman versus Bobby Roode next week. Nia Jax versus Natalya next week. And then a tag team battle royal to decide the number one contenders for the Raw tag team titles. And Sasha Banks won the gauntlet match. Good match. And the right woman won. And that was pretty much Raw. Boring, formulaic, and unenthusiastic. SmackDown was the much better show. But again, I already reviewed it on my Storm stream. Again, if you want to go check that out. Joe came out. He climbed the ladder, grabbed the briefcase. Joe promised to destroy Bryan. Bryan then came out. Cass interrupted. Cass stated that he will face Joe. He was cleared, and then Paige made the match a triple threat match, which turned into a great match, might I add. Shinsuke Nakamura defeated Ty Dillinger. That was a decent match, and of course Nakamura playing up to his heel gimmick and counting along to the count of 10. Obviously, building towards his last man standing match against Styles. The dance-off between Lana and Naomi, it was definitely a Road Dogg production. It was a waste of time, and the only positive that really came out of it was the fact that, it was just there. It was just there, and all it did was build to a mixed tag match next week, so it didn't take up too much time. That was the only thing about the show that was really non-noteworthy, if you want to call it that. New Day defeated The Bar and The Miz. That was a great match, by the way. I hope they give either Xavier or Kofi the right to enter Money in the Bank, but I know they're gonna have Big E. But I'm not hating on Big E. Big E's a talented competitor. He's got a hell of a lot of charisma. He can wrestle for sure. He's a hard-hitting competitor. So if Big E is to get a singles run, I can see him going for the WWE Championship maybe at the beginning of 2019. I mean, he has the potential, so I'm going to let that play out. The club had a promo. The Bludgeon Brothers interrupted, obviously building towards the tag match at Money in the Bank. Asuka defeated Mandy Rose. Mandy Rose definitely improving. It was a decent match, and I stated this on my Storm stream. Absolution may have been atrocious, but Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville are the superior wrestlers to Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan. As I stated before, Jimmy Uso and Naomi versus Lana and English is announced for next week. Also, we got Charlotte and Lynch. I would not mind seeing Becky Lynch get the win, since Charlotte doesn't really need a win right now. Almas and Sin Cara had a promo backstage. Almas and Sin Cara. That's actually not a bad match if you think about it, because Sin Cara is actually a very underrated competitor. Him and Baron Corbin actually had a good match for the U.S. title. I enjoyed that match. Almas, obviously we know how good Almas is, so two styles that complement each other. Could be a good match. And then in the main event, Samoa Joe defeated Big Cass and Daniel Bryan in a triple threat Money in the Bank qualifying match. It was a great match. The right man won, and Joe choked out Daniel Bryan. Bryan did not pass out, or excuse me, he passed out, but he did not tap out. So they're booking Bryan pretty well, and I can actually see Big Cass versus Daniel Bryan maybe next week, and then Paige makes it a number one contenders match for the U.S. title. Because Hardy needs a challenger. It could be Daniel Bryan. Maybe it could be somebody like... Maybe he does an open challenge. I don't know. Maybe he gets Ty Dillinger. Maybe he gets Shelton Benjamin. Maybe he gets... who else is there? Maybe he could do Big Cass if they do an open challenge, but I would prefer Daniel Bryan or Ty Dillinger. But then after the match, Big Cass booted Daniel Bryan in the face. SmackDown Live, yet another good show. So that's 4 weeks in a row now that SmackDown Live has been putting on good shows. And again, if someone could notify me, is Road Dogg still writing SmackDown Live? Because it's been pretty good for the past couple weeks. I don't know if he took an extended vacation. I don't know if he developed some creativity, but whatever they're doing, just keep on doing it. I am not complaining. .205 Live, great show. 205 Live was a great damn show. Gulak was on commentary. Kendrick and Gallagher defeated Kalisto and Lince Dorado. That was a good match. Very good tag team match. Gulak then got involved, and Gulak, when he was on commentary with Nigel McGuinness, Vic Joseph, and Percy Watson, he was mispronouncing all of the Lucha House Party's names. He called Lince Dorado, he called him Lindsay Dorito. Even with this new badass heel persona, Drew Gulak can still make you laugh. Let me tell you something. If they want to give Drew Gulak a Cruiserweight title match, probably at Money in the Bank or Extreme Rules, by all means give it to him, because he is funny as hell. And I stated this on my Storm stream. Cedric Alexander versus Buddy Murphy for the Cruiserweight title was a phenomenal match. 20 minutes of excellence. And this, without a doubt, and I stand by this statement, this will go down as the greatest match in 205 Live history. I don't think anything is even going to come close to topping what they did. Maybe until next year, because next year, hopefully they get some new signees to 205 Live. Maybe Leo Rush. I wouldn't mind Leo Rush. Maybe Raul Mendoza. I like those two on 205 Live. You know we're gonna get some good talent on 205 Live. I do not want to see Tommaso Ciampa or Johnny Gargano on 205 Live. Though those guys need to go to SmackDown. But phenomenal match. Greatest match in 205 Live history. And if you want a reason why I watch 205 Live, all you need to do is go and watch Cedric versus Buddy Murphy on the May 29th episode of 205 Live. What a match. What a match. NXT. We're going to take it a bit more slower on this one. Gargano versus Ciampa in a TakeOver Chicago street fight was announced to open the show. We had Black kicking off, and Black basically said that he will take on anyone. It doesn't matter who it is, and it only takes one opportunity to get his opponents to fade to black. Lars Sullivan actually came out, and Lars Sullivan says that there is no more talk, there is no more chatter, there's no more of anything, because he will be the challenger. Lars says that he will dominate Black, and afterwards, Black was actually in a chokehold. I think it looked like a Tongan death grip that Haku used to do. Black swatted Lars Sullivan's hand away, went for Black Mass, but Sullivan caught him. And Sullivan's like just looking at him like, are you serious? You're trying to do this on me? Throws his foot down, hits the freak accident, and then holds the NXT Championship high above his head. So, Lars Sullivan, I would not mind seeing Lars Sullivan as NXT Champion, but not now. Not now, because I want to see Aleister Black versus Johnny Gargano for the NXT Championship at TakeOver Brooklyn 4, because I'm going there. Maybe I'm acting a bit spoiled, but I really want to see that match, because that has Match of the Year candidate written all over it. Maybe even better than Johnny and Almas. The War Raiders defeated some jobbers. Obviously, they are looking as dominant as ever. EC3 defeated Fabian Eichner. This was actually a good match for what it was. Johnny Gargano actually interrupted the match to announce that the contract has been signed, and it will be Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa in a street fight. EC3 got a bit distracted. Fabian Eichner hit a huge springboard crossbody, took out EC3, then he threw EC3 back in the ring, but EC3, he capitalized on the mistake made by Eichner and hit that TKO, or I believe he might be calling it the TK3, because he used to call it that in Impact. Bianca Belair had a promo package, and like I said, they've done this for Balor, they did this for Apollo Crews, and they did this for Roderick Strong. Now they're doing it for Bianca Belair. I like what they're doing. They're giving the WWE Universe some insight into who Bianca Belair is. I expect big things for Bianca Belair. I would like to see Bianca Belair versus Kairi Sane in a rematch from the Mae Young Classic, this time for the NXT Women's Championship at TakeOver Royal Rumble weekend next year, because I want Kairi Sane to have a long, drawn-out run with it. Ricochet defeated Chris Dijak. This was Chris Dijak's debut. He was really working a lot of live events, as far as I heard, and I've been seeing a lot of Instagram pics of him working live events. This was his debut, and Chris Dijak, he's a very athletic big dude. He went one-on-one with Ricochet, and it was only like a 3, 4, 5 minute match, but it was a great match for what it was. And this was probably one of the best 3-minute matches I've seen since Velveteen Dream and Lio Rush back in October of last year. So this was a very, very, very good match. Chris Dijak hit a chokeslam to Ricochet on the apron. He did a moonsault, and if I'm not mistaken, he almost landed right on his forehead. I'm going to have to go back and rewatch that. But Ricochet pulled off a Seth Rollins-like move where he did a suplex, and then he reversed it and just deadlifted Chris Dijak in the air and hit like a modified brainbuster. I am thoroughly convinced that Ricochet is not human. I am thoroughly convinced that he is the tattooed, smaller, bald version of the Terminator. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Ricochet says that Dream is a punk afterwards. He said he wants the Dream at TakeOver Chicago, but before he could make the challenge, the Dream interrupted. The Dream then says, okay, yeah, I'll see you in Chicago, as he backs away. Then, out of nowhere, after the Dream says, whatever you can do, the Dream can do better, Ricochet, like Spider-Man, just does a barrel roll tope con hero over the top rope. He lands on his feet, and he walks up, he takes 2 steps in front of Velveteen Dream and goes, well then show me. And again, I state, he is not human. He is a mini Terminator. He is a machine. And you can expect a lot of success for Ricochet in the future for NXT. 5-star match written all over it. Danny Burch versus Roderick Strong was announced for next week. It's Roddy versus Mr. Daniel Burch, as Roderick Strong likes to call him. Then in the main event, it was a decent match for what it was. I kind of feel like it went a bit too short, but it was still good for what it was. Shayna Baszler defeating Dakota Kai. Dakota Kai actually had some fire behind her in this NXT Women's title match. She had the running boot in the corner. She had an enziguri. She had a few slaps to Shayna Baszler. And she went for her finisher. I don't know what it's called. It's almost like a combination of the Codebreaker meeting the Canadian Destroyer. It's like a backbreaker on the neck. So yeah, it's kind of like the Canadian Destroyer and a Codebreaker. She went for that, but Shayna Baszler locked in the Karafuda clutch. And when Shayna Baszler locks in that Karafuda clutch, it looks brutal. Also, another thing that looked brutal in this match was the fact that in the beginning of the matchup, Shayna Baszler bent Dakota Kai's leg back, and instead of stomping on her arm and like bending her arm like she did back in January, she bent her leg back and just started stomping away on the leg, bending it and bending it and bending it even more back. And I'm like, what? I'm like, Dakota Kai, like, how can you take that much punishment? You got to give Dakota Kai a lot of credit for willing to take that much punishment, because the way that Shayna Baszler was delivering those shots, it looked like it legitimately hurt. Like Dakota Kai legitimately tore a muscle in there. I don't know what the hell. I don't know what, like, who even organized that spot, but props to Dakota Kai for having the courage to take it. But after the match, Shayna Baszler locked in the Karafuda clutch again, and then Dakota Kai, out of nowhere, was helped by Nikki Cross. Nikki Cross came out, and she's going crazy. She's just, like, pulling her hair out. She's smacking the mat, and Shayna Baszler's backing off. Then Nikki Cross runs after Shayna Baszler, grabs the title, runs back in the ring, and encourages Shayna Baszler to come and get it. But Nikki grabs it back, and she starts saying, I want you in a title match right here, right now. And then she starts motioning to Dakota Kai. She said, Dakota, take this. You, me, tonight, Dakota, ring the bell. And Dakota Kai, as Dakota Kai was putting the title down on the side, Shayna Baszler went to go stop her, and Nikki Cross out of nowhere hits the Fisherman Neckbreaker, and Shayna Baszler was dropped right on her neck, and Dakota Kai counted the 1, 2, 3, and then Nikki Cross had the championship. She was banging the title on the ground. I think at one point she started doing Seth Rollins' shtick and started swinging the title above her head. She went into the crowd. The crowd's chanting for Nikki Cross. And Shayna Baszler is in the ring. She's like, well, what the hell is happening? So I'm assuming that we might get Nikki Cross versus Shayna Baszler for the women's title at TakeOver Chicago, which I would not mind. I actually like that match. Very good episode of NXT. And now we get to the news, rumors, and reports. So I got a lot to say. First things first. Now, more likely than not, some things on WWE television are rather obvious. But I'm going to state the obvious anyway. According to a report by Brad Shepard of Bodyslam.net, recently, he stated that Lana is just merely in the Money in the Bank ladder match because of her affiliation with Rusev and how over he is. So that's pretty much that. So we all know Lana's not going to win the Money in the Bank ladder match. WWE would be retarded to the max. WWE would be mentally insane if they gave Lana the Money in the Bank ladder match win over all the competitors like Ember Moon or Natalya or Becky Lynch or Naomi or Sasha Banks. So Lana is not winning the Money in the Bank ladder match. She's merely there as a placeholder because of Rusev. Next, about Big Cass. After this past Tuesday, PW Insider reports that Big Cass is returning to the live event tours this week. So you can expect him back in action. And he's all healthy. I'm assuming that him and Bryan are going to continue their feud. Next, according to Cage Side Seats reported that it is expected that we won't know which member of the New Day will be in the Money in the Bank ladder match until the pay-per-view, which is a smart decision. I like that, because it puts a little bit of unpredictability into the match. Everyone's trying to guess, okay, which member of the New Day is going to be in the match. And not only that, if you think about it, per storyline-wise, it kind of gives the New Day an advantage, because the New Day are playing it smart. They're like, yeah, we're not going to say who's going to be in the ladder match. We want to keep it a secret, and we want to get the upper advantage. So New Day playing a bit of mind games, and I give props to WWE for going this route. I actually got some news from Dave Meltzer about the Cruiserweights. This is kind of a down. Dave Meltzer tweeted a certain someone. He tweeted a fan who was asking him about the Cruiserweights not appearing on Raw, and it basically signaled that they will no longer be appearing on Raw. He tweeted in reply to a question about the Cruiserweights, and I quote, "They are on Raw house show tours and do prelims on Raw night, but yes, no longer on Raw itself." That is a damn shame, because I really want to see the Cruiserweights shine more on WWE television, more than just 205 Live. Though 205 Live has been great. 205 Live has been fantastic in every sense of the word, but I would really want to see what WWE would do with the Cruiserweights on Raw. So I really hope the Cruiserweights get their well-deserved spotlight on Raw in the near future. I have a report and a special shout-out to Mr. Slice Wrestling. Go follow him on Twitter at Slice Wrestling. And I quote, "Exclusive, NXT will air on Fox/FS1 programming as a part of the new TV deal in 2019. This expansion is another step in WWE's attempt to give larger audience viewers a convenient way to watch all of WWE's products." So I commend WWE for doing that. They're exposing NXT to more eyes. They're giving more people a look into NXT. And you know something? This is good, because all the delusional, weak-minded sons of bitches out there will realize that NXT and 205 Live, if they decide to put 205 Live on there as well, is what we want out of professional wrestling. So good decision on WWE there. And it will really help the delusional Roman fans. Just need to sneak that in there. I have one final report, and I would like to spend a while talking about this, or a little bit of time, not like 40 minutes. But according to DirtySheets.net, Styles will retain the WWE title against Shinsuke Nakamura, and The Miz will be the one to cash in on Styles and win the WWE title in the near future. Before I say what I'm about to say, I am not discrediting The Miz or Styles in any way, because a feud between The Miz and Styles would be very good. But Styles does not need this win. Styles has had his moment in the sun. He should have lost the title to Nakamura at WrestleMania. But here's why I'm saying this is a bad idea. Because you have a huge story to tell with Daniel Bryan and The Miz in the future. Because that is where your end result is for WrestleMania 35. It is Daniel Bryan versus The Miz in the main event of WrestleMania for the WWE Championship. But we need to make sure that you get there with the right storyline. This is how everything should play out. Now, I'm not saying that WWE is going to do it, but this is how they should play out. This is the best route to go as far as the WWE Championship picture goes. Nakamura should win the WWE title from AJ Styles. Nakamura should win. Styles can go on and feud with Samoa Joe, because that's going to be the feud for the summer. A nice secondary feud on SmackDown Live. While the world title picture, the feud of the summer for the WWE Championship, is going to be Nakamura and Daniel Bryan. Nakamura and Daniel Bryan in the main event of SummerSlam for the WWE Championship. Nakamura exposes the turnbuckle. Daniel Bryan does not know. Bryan goes headfirst into the exposed turnbuckle. Nakamura hits the Kinshasa for the win. Nakamura retains the title. And I know that there has been some chatter about all the pay-per-views being moved around ever since they are dual branded now. I know that they have Extreme Rules in July. Next month, I know that they have TLC in October. I believe Hell in a Cell is in September of this year. So picture this. Daniel Bryan is seeking revenge on Nakamura. He gets his rematch inside Hell in a Cell. And it is a brutal war. It is a fight that will shake the foundation of WWE programming and SmackDown Live. Daniel Bryan and Nakamura just beating each other down. Daniel Bryan's never say die attitude pays off. Daniel Bryan hits that knee, and Daniel Bryan, 1, 2, 3, becomes the WWE champion. And as the cage is being risen up, who but The Miz swoops in, cashes in his Money in the Bank contract, hits the skull-crushing finale on Daniel Bryan, and robs him, just robs him of the WWE Championship. And Daniel Bryan is off. He's off of television with an injury, quote-unquote, because of what happened inside Hell in a Cell. For 5 months, he's off with an injury. Meanwhile, The Miz can feud with Nakamura or Styles or Hardy. So be it. Or Orton. After 5 months, Daniel Bryan makes his return, just like John Cena did at the Royal Rumble in 2008. Bryan returns at number 30 in the Royal Rumble of 2019, and he wins the Royal Rumble. He wins the Royal Rumble, and then there you have it. There you have it. The Miz versus Daniel Bryan in the main event of WrestleMania for the WWE Championship. That is how they should book the WWE Championship picture all the way going into WrestleMania. And ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up this edition of the Lightning Flash Update. I would like to thank each and every one of you who tuned into this video. Do not forget to like, do not forget to comment, do not forget to subscribe, and do not forget to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at the DJ Storms. Do not forget to check out the special edition Storm Stream, which I posted on Wednesday. Do not forget to check out the Lightning Flash Update next week. Do not forget to check out the rundown for NXT TakeOver Chicago, which I will be posting a few days before Chicago, and also the rundown for Money in the Bank on June 16th, in which Dr. Huge will be making his special appearance. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm DJ Storms. This has been the Lightning Flash Update. You have a great weekend, and stay salty.